hello this Friday to everyone in the VZWBuzz chat. I am here with Robyn Wright. Hey, Robyn.
Hi.
And we're going to just give you a quick recap of how to make sense of all these speeds and feeds that we hear about smartphone and other mobile devices and take the mystery out of some of these challenging terms. For now, we are going to give away, and as you can see, I'm looking for them, some Jawbone up bands, activity bands, and they are great to help you get in shape and to track your steps and your calories burned and your sleep. It's really interesting when you wake up and you realize, you know, what kind of quality of sleep you've gotten. So we're going to give 2 of those away. Misty is going to find the winners by the questions that you ask. So ask us some good questions and interact a lot here on Twitter, and Misty will pick the winners in about 15 minutes from now. So without further ado, Robyn, so when someone comes to you and says, which smartphone should I buy? What is kind of like the first thing you do? What process do you put people through?
I think sometimes I start out with price, because that is a big factor for people. If it's either price or operating system. I kind of go one way or the other. Operating system would be, Windows Phone, Android phone, or iPhone. And if you already are using Windows devices everywhere else, I would say go with a Windows phone usually. If you're using Android, like if you already have a tablet, then maybe you might want to stick with an Android phone if you really like the tablet. If you're a Mac user, iPhone is a natural fit for you. Doesn't mean you can't go across, because I use Android and Windows devices, but especially if you're starting out, it's really nice to be comfortable with that operating system you're using. And then you can look at price, because the stores have price points of, you can pay a lot for a phone, or you can get a free one, or if you have contract, you can get a little bit of savings on that. So, and then it goes into, what do you want to use your device for?
Right, right. It's so important to think about your own personal lifestyle and what you're going to need it for. Now, I have to say, though, having said that, that sometimes you find out all the amazing things that a device can help you do, such as productivity, or even just have fun or connect with people once you have it.
Right.
There's a greater motivation, right, sometimes to really understand the device better before you buy it, because it all depends on why you're doing this. There's a question on the feed that says, should you start, if you're going from a flip phone, a feature phone, which is how the industry calls it, I guess, would it be easier to go to a tablet first and then a smartphone? What's your opinion on that?
I don't necessarily think so. You can go either way. It depends on what you want this device to do. So if you're using the flip phone now and you only use it to make calls and maybe text, and you're happy with that, you don't really need a very small device to carry with you to do a lot of things, but you want something a little more portable than a laptop, then a tablet might be the way to go. If you want to keep it small and be able to do so much more on your phone than just talk and text, then maybe you might want to go for a smartphone. And you can look at the sizes of them. So there's larger phones than others. So this is a Note 3, and it's really big. And then this is a Nokia Icon, and it's still big, but it's smaller. And iPhones they're very compact, and some people really like that. So it depends on what you want. If vision is an issue too, because I'm in my mid-40s now and my eyes are going, apparently, I like the bigger screen. So you have to look at things like that too. So it's not smartphone or tablet, one or the other. You can have both. You can just think what you're going to do with these devices.
Yeah, one of the questions, I love this because I'm just going through this with my own mom, is what's the best phone for grandma if she's starting? And in our case, I found all the touch screen functionality is really useful for her. And so she doesn't have to figure out exactly how the controls work. She can just touch it and move it around, read a book, watch video. So try to find device that's going to be definitely easy to the touch. And but I think more than anything, one of the most underutilized resources that Verizon provides are those workshops. And I've attended a couple of them. I was just kind of stealth checking them out once here in our local store. And so what happens is that it doesn't matter if people are Verizon customers or not. You can go into the workshop. It's free. And it talks about Android, how the Android operating system works, and comparison with iOS and the Windows OS, and also between devices. There's some differences between devices. So it's really important to try to do a little bit of that homework. It's a great investment of your time.
It is. And they have so they have the classes on the different operating systems and the different devices specifically. And if you don't see what you want at the stores around you, that it's on the actual schedule, call them and tell them, hey, I have this device, or I'm interested, and they may be able to add it to the schedule or whatever. And that's an individual store thing you need to look at. And I know out west, especially, they have lots of the classes in Spanish even. I don't know how much that is everywhere, but I know out west in California especially, they had a lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing to think about when you're exploring your own devices, I think you pointed this out once to me, and I found out through you, Robyn, is that many of the devices that you currently have tutorials in them, and it's really worthwhile to go through them. And I was able to understand my camera better. I recently was so grateful to get this Windows phone, and the screen is so unbelievable, but they also have some great tutorials to help you learn. I don't think Verizon has online workshops, but there's a lot of online resources that Verizon provides as far as I said, training videos and others, which we will post here for you to see. That was one of our questions.
Right, and they so along with, as far as online, along with Verizon has the walkthroughs, a lot of the manufacturers have them too, so that's a place to check. So if you have a Nokia phone, go to the Nokia website too and look, and you can see all sorts of extra videos and how-tos and tutorials that go along with it. Same thing with Samsung, all these different phones. So there's a lot of resources, and of course there's us, and we like to share with you how to use things. So.
Yeah, there's a great question also, and I don't mean to say great. I hate doing that because really all the questions are good, and we are all learning, so no question is too basic for us, for sure. Certainly for me. Robyn is another story. She does know a lot, but her question, Keziah Gibbons asks, my issue is finding a good smartphone that has enough internal memory to hold all of my apps. What would you say to that, Robyn?
So for someone who really is going to use a lot of apps, I use a ton of apps. You can ask anybody who has seen my phone. I scroll through the list, and they're like, oh my gosh. And I don't ever buy external memory cards to put in them, but a lot of phones have those. And so if you're using more apps than me and you need that space, look for devices that allow you to add a memory card to it, and that will expand your space. The other thing you want to do is look at your settings and what is being saved to your phone and what is being saved to that memory card. And you also have cloud storage that you really want to look at for storing photos and music and different things like that, because that frees up space on your phone for doing other, for having other things that you can't necessarily store in the cloud. And the Verizon, you get with the More Everything plan, it's 25 gigs now you get of storage space, so it's a lot. There's lots of other cloud storage space out there too. So you really, if that's an issue for you, get devices that have external SD cards.
Yeah, and not to get overly complicated, but on the average, I have always chosen 16 gigabytes on my phones, and I've never needed more. I do store a lot of music, photos, perhaps not too many videos, but as a general rule, I think your apps are not going to be the problem. It's your media, right? It's going to be your videos. If you store movies and music videos, that kind of thing, is what's going to eat up your memory.
There are some apps that have a lot, they store some different kinds of games that store a lot of information in there, but you can also go into your settings and your app manager and delete the cache and do some different things, just like you would on your computer. But again, that's someone who is using a lot of the capacity of the device, and so it's not the average person's experience, I don't think. The average person really is not going to have that issue, I don't think, too often.
Yeah, let's see. Amy is saying I have both but need to upgrade my smartphone. Yeah, again, I think really try to focus on, you know, asking people sometimes, this is what we're here for. What do we like? Why do we like it? I have found that a lot of my friends are making decisions on their smartphones based on the camera. And that's, I think, super important because you need a great network, you know, one that's going to be there when you need to make a phone call. And so this is why Robyn and I and the team are so in love with Verizon, because we know it's going to be there when you need it. But besides that, the driving reason has actually been the camera, right? To be able to share memories, capture them, and so play around with them. And Robyn is an expert also at taking some great shots. So we can come back here for those photo chats, mobile photography chats, right?
The one thing I would say about when you're looking at the camera for purchasing a device, the number of megapixels itself is not the be-all, end-all of it. Yes, the bigger the number, the more detail and stuff you can get on it. But if the camera lens and the different things on the camera aren't very good, even though it can store a larger megapixel photo, you're still not going to be happy with it. So there is a difference in the camera itself, not just the megapixel number. So that's something to remember. Don't just let that big number just go, oh, that's the one I want. It's not necessarily true. My first pick always for cameras on the phones are my Nokia devices. Amazing, amazing cameras.
Yeah, I have to say that I've been also taking some shots with the Samsung Galaxy S5. The shots are amazing too, and it can be that my eye is less discerning, but I really love that camera as well. And the camera on the Samsung Galaxy Note 3 has been phenomenal. But all of these three devices far superior to my iPhone camera, actually. So for what it's worth, choose, if you're choosing for cameras, definitely you know, play around, consider the Nokia and the Galaxy phones for that. Okay, one more question. Misty, I think that you are going to identify two winners for us, right? So tell us a little bit about the cables. There's a little confusion, Robyn, in terms of universal USBs and how to charge phones and the charge cases. How do we simplify it for people, this whole thing on cables? We're all carrying too many cables.
Okay. Well, there has been a lot of improvement over the last few years. So iPhone, Apple devices, they have their own little thing. So that you're specific. And a year or two ago, Marty or Misty may be able to chime in on this. They switched and changed something around, but they're very consistent with theirs. For your other devices, so for Android and Windows devices, most will have either a mini or a micro USB hub where you charge them at. Mm-hmm. And the difference is negligible, but it's there. And you're just going to plug it in, and as long as it's the same size, you can really use it with all your different devices that you use a micro or a mini, whichever one you have. The Samsung, the newer phones like the 5 and the Note 3 have USB 3.0 in them, and so they can charge faster with the special plug that they have, but you can still also use the older plugs. It just will go a little bit slower, and you only use half of the port for it. To hook it up to your computer, usually you can get a cable that has a micro or a mini on the one side to hook into your device, and then the regular USB that goes into your computer. That makes it easy to transfer, but you can also use Bluetooth and wireless functions, NFC, and that now too. And then Nokia devices have a key, I believe it's called Key or Qi, QI charging, and you don't even have to plug it in. I just set it down on my chargers. I have several different kinds. and literally nothing else. Just set it down on the charger, and it charges it on the go. So that's awesome too.
Yeah. So simplify your charges. Sometimes it's really great when if manufacturers ever came together to have the same charger. If there's ever a request, at least the charger, please could we all have the same one? It would make your life and our lives easier. So that's a message to the universe of device manufacturers.
I would say too that there are some really inexpensive chargers out there that are, you know, they say they're compatible with everything and that, and some of them are good, some of them will not last very long. So it's a kind of get what you pay for kind of thing. So just be careful if you're buying a universal replacement charger and that. It may not last as long as you would like it to.
Right, it's true. Okay, and we're going to announce a new program. We're going to select one of you once a week to give you a phone makeover. And so if you think you're in need or ready for a smartphone upgrade, we're going to help you make that decision, and who knows, you might even get a smartphone. So let us know if you're interested by tweeting during the chats. We selected our first makeover person, and I think, Misty, you have, it's my sister Aries by nature 8. And so what we're going to do is we're just simply going to walk her through how to make that decision, and then we're going to help her get one. So that, I think, a real life case study of someone, her lifestyle, what she uses it for. Does she work outside the home? Is she home? I don't know. You know, we're going to ask her all kinds of questions, Robyn and I, and then we're going to suit her up with the best and the ideal phone for her. So join us for the smartphone makeover next week after the VZWBuzz chat. And for now, I think we have our first winner is Cheryl K, and her Twitter ID is FCat727. Thank you so much, Misty. And so you are going to win the first prize. Her question was, how do you know what kind of camera you're getting on a phone? Robyn, what's a good answer for that one?
A good answer is to do a little research ahead of time. Look at reviews, ask people. We always recommend asking in the Verizon stores, going in and checking them out, see what they say. We love to share with you what we think about phones and cameras and that. So ask questions. Ask people you know. Do you like the camera? Do you not like the camera? What is it about it? So that really is the best way, I think, to go about that.
Yeah, definitely ask around. Sometimes if you are on Instagram, you can see somebody's shots, and you can also ask, you know, that person, if you're following them, you know, which camera you use. We try to post the camera we use on our Instagram posts. It's helpful because people will actually see the difference that way. Thanks so much, Misty. She's found our second winner of the Jawbone Up Band, and that's Wright. If you never used Android or Windows, how do you know which OS is better for you? We're not going to ask Robyn this question. That is not something we're going to ask her.
I carry both. It's all right.
She uses both. It's true. And you know, that is that's why you need to kind of play around with it, and ask people that use them both. Now, everyone that uses theirs is going to love theirs. But there are some nuances and some differences, and also no limitation in terms of app choices for Android versus Windows, which are coming online, you know, relatively frequently and updated, but not quite as fast. So your choices on apps will be a little bit limited, but the camera is great on the Nokia, so you're going to have to make that decision in terms of what's more important to you. And so thank you so much for attending today, and for the VZWBuzz recap. Our experts, Robyn and GeekBabe on Twitter, is busy answering your questions along with the Tech Dad. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you here next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Robyn.